Hello, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone who's joined us on this webinar. We very much appreciate you taking the time to join us here for our webinar on mobility solutions for physical access control. And I think we have a number of people who have now joined us online, so we'll get started. I'll start with a few housekeeping items to go over. Anyone who's attending this webinar live right now is in a listen-only mode, so you don't have to worry about muting your computer and you don't have to worry about your dog barking in the background, for example. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to submit them by the question function on your screen right now. We will collect all of those questions and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. And finally, a replay of this webinar will be available afterwards. In case you want to revisit anything in the webinar, or if you want to share it with any members of your network. And finally, if there's any additional information or assistance that you need in any of this, please contact us at the email address on the bottom right of the screen, info@coppernic.fr. So we'll move on. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about Coppernic for those of you who don't know us. First and foremost, Coppernic is a mobility company. We design, produce, and deploy professional-grade handheld devices, and they're for use of basically control and traceability applications in basically 4 general areas: public transportation and ticketing, traceability of goods and materials, mobile biometric identification, and mobile access control. And we have successfully deployed and supported mobile device systems ranging from just 1 to over 10,000 devices. And within those 4 areas, there's a number of markets or applications that we've addressed, from border control and military applications to elections or ticketing and asset tracking, access control, animal tracking, and so on. In addition to that, as a system integrator, we can deliver complete turnkey solutions using a mobile technology, of course, RFID, IoT, in many of these different application areas like access control or biometrics or even on-street parking. We provide comprehensive support packages and expertise in a number of areas such as security, connectivity, device management, and so on. And Coppernic was founded in 2008 and is located in Aix-en-Provence, France. So I will speak a bit about the speakers who will be speaking to you in this webinar today. I'm Rob Vanderbeck. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer here at Coppernic, normally located in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, but today coming to you from our head office in France. We will also be joined by Mark Peepers, who's our Chief Technical Officer and co-founder of Coppernic. He's located here in France. And coming to us from Virginia in the United States, we have Stephen Wynn, who's the Director of Business Development at one of our partners, Mosaic ID, who will be talking about one of their solutions. So I'll move on with the objectives of this webinar. So firstly, this is not intended to be a product demonstration or a solution demonstration of any sort. This is intended to be an informational webinar to discuss the concept of adding mobility to physical access control systems, starting with the what and why. What is it and why would you do it? And review use cases, applications, and needs. Then I'll hand off to Mark, who will get into more of the technical aspects in terms of if you decide to implement mobility in your solution, in your access control system, what are the approaches you can take? What are the challenges you would run into? And what is required and what is there to watch out for? Mark will also briefly touch on biometrics and mobility and access control, a bit of a look into future trends and some of the things we've learned in some of our adjacent markets and market segments where we've used biometrics in mobile applications. And then we'll hand off to Steve. Steve will provide a showcase of his application, their standalone mobile access control solution that Mosaic ID provides, and he'll give us an overview of that. And finally, as I mentioned, we will conclude with the questions and answers, anything that you have had to submit during the entire webinar. So let's get started. We're speaking about mobility and physical access control systems. Let's start off by defining by what we mean by that. So essentially, it means that we extend the reach and the functionality of your current physical access control system using mobile handheld devices, typically ruggedized enterprise mobile devices, and maintaining the compatibility with your existing ID cards and your existing credentials. So what you can do is you can perform the same functions as your existing fixed readers in your existing system, but you're getting new opportunities and use cases thanks to the portability offered by the devices and the ability to provide user feedback and a user interface, a barcode scanner, and so on. And the overall objective is to provide improved safety, improved security, and flexibility in today's environment. We know that overall, many working patterns are changing. There's more people working in home offices and only intermittently in their main office. Temporary work share locations are being used, and so on. There's also additional requirements for health and safety controls, checkpoints, screening, and so on. And hopefully, as life gets a bit back to normal, we'll go back to managing the safety and access at remote events, sales meetings or conferences or transportation such as shuttle buses and so on. So this is giving you a bit of a definition of what we're speaking about for mobility and physical access control systems. And I'll talk about the use cases. And one of the leading use cases or driving forces in mobility is emergency management, sometimes known as mustering, which allows you to take the mobile devices, the handheld terminals, and enable fast and safe evacuation of personnel or visitors during an emergency. You can enhance the existing mustering feature of your current access control system and facilitate the quick and accurate roll call in real time across many muster points. So it will give you the flexibility to quickly rearrange or even reassign new muster points if required. And when you notice that personnel are missing or not reported in, you can enable immediate exception management to call or text or email people who are missing. So the portable devices or the terminals would contain a list of all those present on your facility. One or more of those terminals can be used to badge people or get them to sign in with their badge as they arrive at the muster point. And a real-time consolidation can be performed. If those devices are connected devices in real time, you can see who's there, who's missing, and you can manage those individual exceptions, as we mentioned. And all of this comes with with detailed time stamping and logging, for example, if you need that for audit purposes for health and safety. So that's one of the driving use cases for mobility and access control. But we also look at applications such as remote entrance or gate control, where you can provide the typical access control management at a remote entrance, a temporary entrance, or wherever fixed equipment is not available. You can use the devices to check employee, visitor, or contractor access rights before they enter your facility at a gate or an entrance to your campus. You can combine on these devices other systems such as health screening or visitor management or delivery reception and so on to give you more functionality at those locations. You can scan barcodes, you can take photos, or you can capture identification documents when the users enter your facility. And as Mark will speak to briefly later on, there is the current potential to identify people and verify identities with biometrics as well. So the terminals or the devices will read ID badges anywhere on your campus and provide your entry and exit control. The badges can be assigned at those points to visitors and collect the information required or their identification documents or take their photos and so on. And you can also manage authorization of entry into different zones in your campus or your location. So that's a second use case that we speak of in mobility, which is gate control or remote entrance access control. We can also speak of temporary sites or temporary remote locations where you can provide those similar services that we just spoke to earlier in remote or temporary locations, such as storage yards or construction sites, temporary warehouses, and so on. You can provide the access right management, again, for visitors or contractors or personnel or deliveries and so on, And you can still provide those emergency management and mustering capabilities at these remote locations or temporary locations, and even add additional functionality such as time and attendance or health screening and so on. All of this can be done with still avoiding the costly fixed infrastructure required by using your wireless communication networks on these devices and providing additional positioning information if required by the GPS function on the terminals. One more application is the management of events or transportation. For example, you can manage a company-sponsored event such as a training or a sales meeting or a conference, or group transportation such as a shuttle bus or company-managed carpools or field trips and so on. And at those types of events, you can provide secure access and check-in and check-out the attendee management. You can screen people, you can register people using the functionality on these devices. You can provide barcode informations and enter people and register people like that, or you can even accept personal identification using these devices. Or if you have a team of people that are working at a specific event, you can use these devices to identify and manage the participation of your employees at those events if they're serving or staffing some type of event. And then finally, again, the same type of evacuation and emergency management that we spoke of earlier can be offered at these events or at these transportation vehicles by using the same type of emergency management or mustering function in the system. And then finally, because the devices are mobile and flexible and they can move around, they can provide random security checks at any location, screening at any location to provide identification checks or theft control activities. They can verify access rights of anyone who's located in a restricted area. And again, you can deal with any type of exception using the mobile devices to deal with any unexpected circumstance as it arises. So that's a very, very brief overview of the use cases that we run into when we're talking about mobility and physical access control systems. And to bring it all home, I'm just going to take a few minutes to show a quick video that brings this all together.
What does it mean to add mobility to physical access control systems? Essentially, it means that you take your existing access control system and extend it almost anywhere, using rugged handheld devices. These specialized devices can tap and read most available badges and ID cards used for access control, but they can also read barcodes and enter information, and this leads to a number of new applications and opportunities thanks to mobility. To improve safety, mobile devices can be used to quickly scan ID badges at a mustering point to perform a roll call during an emergency evacuation. By processing real-time information across muster points, the system can ensure all employees, visitors, and contractors are accounted for and immediately provide communication options when people are not. Mobile devices can also be used to enhance security at remote entrances and gates, to check access rights before personnel enter a campus area. These flexible devices can also be used for health screening checkpoints or documents and ID checks, including mobile security checks and inspections. Mobility can also provide enhanced safety and security at remote and temporary locations, such as storage yards, construction sites, or temporary warehouses. And by using wireless communications, there is no need for installing costly fixed infrastructure. Finally, mobility can provide secure access and attendee check-in, check-out management for all types of corporate events such as off-site training, sales meetings or conferences, as well as group transportation such as shuttles, carpools, or field trips. To learn more about what mobility can do for your physical access control system, contact Coppernic, www.coppernic.fr.
Okay, over to you, Mark.
Hi, hello. So I guess this is now my turn to have the floor. So thank you, Rob, for the presentation. So I am Mark Piepers. I am the Chief Technical Officer of Coppernic and one of the founders of the company. And as Rob explained, our DNA is really mobility, and so implementing mobile devices in the field and really implementing mobile projects. And so this is why I wanted to really to explain what we think is really important when you want to implement mobility into your projects, and in particular for access control. So I think I can switch the slides, or you can do it, Rob. Okay. So basically, my presentation will be about the guidelines for mobility. So when you want to have a deployment of a mobile project, what you really need to know, and then with a focus really on access control and what you need to take into account if you really want to implement a nice mobile project for access control. Okay, so I'll just try to go next. Right. Okay, so basically, general guidelines are really the rules to follow when you talk about mobility. Is first of all that you need to have specialized devices. You need to have a rugged industrial device, and you need to make sure that this device will be able to withstand all the external life. So you need to make sure that it will be able to be dropped on the floor and still be able to work. You need to make sure that any kind of weather will be okay with your device, and so that it is waterproof, that it can also work on an extended range of temperature, and also you want to make sure that the device life is really long enough. So that means that you really want to make sure that your project will use devices that will be specialized, that will be rugged, and that will last for at least 3 to 5 years. That's really the main things you have to think about when you think about mobility in a project. Okay, so next slide. All right, and as I said, you need to make sure that your device is rugged enough and really adapted to your project. And that means also that you want the device to be fully adapted to what you need to do. And this is also part of our DNA to make sure that when people are using devices in the field, they are not device users. They are actually performing something. They are doing their jobs, and we want them to be really focused on their job and not on the fact that they are using a device. So that means that you need to have a device that has an extended battery life. You don't want to really to be annoyed by the fact that you don't have any more battery, or you need to think about the fact that you only have 10% and still 2 hours of work to be done. You want to make sure that if you need to scan something, for example, barcodes or RFID card or something like that, you want to make sure that your peripheral works perfectly. And what you would understand in a public or personal use, not being very snappy scan or something, you don't want to have it on your professional device. You want the professional device to be professional, and so to really work very efficiently and very nicely. And in addition to that, of course, the way you use the device is very important. So you want to have accessories that are really fit for purpose. You want to be able to use your device with only your fingers. You don't want to be forced to use a stylus or this kind of thing. And in terms of user experience, it's very, very important that the application that is running on the device is also very easy to use, and that there is not a lot of things to learn and not a flat learning curve when you want to put your devices in the hands of the people that will use them in the field, because it's really, really important that it's a very nice experience to implement new functionalities in the field, and this is not cumbersome or not easy to use when you are in the field. So we go to the next slide. I think I can do it myself. Yeah, that's okay. All right, so of course, you also want to control very nicely your devices in the field. That means that this is very important that you think about the device management and make sure that when you deploy an application, you want it to be absolutely consistent in the field. So this is why we also propose to use device management, so enterprise mobile management, to make sure that all your devices can be accessed in the field, that you can make sure that they are all running the same application, and also that they are up to date in terms of security. Security, of course, is very important because you don't want, of course, to have some flaws in your system, and not because of your mobile devices. And so this is why this is also key to make sure that the operating system you use is totally controlled, that your application environment is perfectly secure. And so this is why it's very important to make sure that you have all these assets on the device you use. And we think that this is very important to have security inside the device. And this is why we propose to have a secure element on the device, or secure application, and also enterprise mobile management, so that you have several layers of security, and you make sure that your mobile application is perfectly secure and not a flaw in your security system. Then, as I said, you want your devices to be perfectly fit for your purpose, and you want them to integrate the exact technology that you need in your project. We know that now many devices have NFC module, so you can read RFID cards. But you have to understand that these capacities of NFC are interesting, but they do not cover the whole technology required for access control. And if you really go into very secure and reliable access control system, it's very likely that you will go into a technology that is only supported by specialized devices that can support specialized ID formats. So I can think of course, HID, which is an American company and has really a lot of technology on the market for access control. But I can think also of STID, which is a French company and has also a very nice offer in terms of specialized technology for access control. And there are other companies in the market, of course, that are specialized in security. And so in this case, it's very important to understand that when you go to a very good and secure system, you will need to have this particular specialized RFID device that needs to be integrated into your mobile device. You also have some cards that are using contact cards. So you have also to take care of that and make sure that this is compatible with your device. And then there are more and more QR codes, so 2D barcodes. And even though cameras now can read QR codes, it's mainly okay for personal use, but when it comes to professional use, when you need really to have performance and speed and also to be able to read very dense barcodes, it's really better to have a specialized device like an imager. Okay, then of course we talked about what you need to have as a device that needs to be rugged and professional. We talked about all the assets that it needs to have, like extended battery life and control of security and so on. Also specialized peripherals to make sure that they can read the cards that you are using. And of course, at some point, you need to integrate the mobile part of your project, so the mobile devices, into your system. And so there are three main approaches. The simpler one is to have a direct connection of the device, of the application running on the device directly into your system, so in the security system. So this is a very simple and straightforward approach that needs also your device needs to be always connected to be able to talk to your server and be able to check the cards in the field. You also have another approach with a server in the middle, which is the server that will have all the access control and everything and connect to your mobile device. And then you can control the cards and the people talking with the server, and then this server will connect to your system. And finally, you have, of course, the batch system that would, for example, extract watch lists or authorization or whitelists from your system maybe once a day, and then you synchronize your device in the morning, and then you can work during the day with your device and with the watch list or whitelist directly on your device, and then you can work remotely or disconnected from your system. And then at the end of the day, you have all the data that was exchanged, all the controls, and then you can synchronize back to your server. One word about SPAC, because we talk about access control and all of that, of course, needs to be based on technology, and this particular access control area does not have a lot of standard, and so this is an initiative really to create a standard for access control with really the state-of-the-art technology and security. So SPAC means smart physical access control, and this is a joint initiative for from a lot of companies in France and in Europe, really to establish a new industrial standard. And this is based on one protocol, which is called SSCP. So SSCP means a secure and smart communication protocol. And so this is a really a work in progress to make sure that all the main companies working in access control can rely on a specific standard, and so that this is really secure and very interoperable. And so you can really make sure that if your access control system is really compliant with SPAC, then you are okay in terms of security, in terms of interoperability, and you are really future-proof. So just a word about SPAC. Look at the website. This is very, very interesting and something that you need to keep in mind if you want to implement access control system. SPAC is really a very, very good, to be future-proof. So a word about biometrics. So biometry is really, I would say, something that is a big trend in terms of technology. There are lots of different technologies, mainly 3 technologies in terms of biometrics. Fingerprint, which is really like the reference in terms of biometrics, and we can see also that face recognition is more and more used, and iris recognition also is really like pushing because these technologies are like contactless technologies. So it's quite interesting to keep these technologies in mind. There are always like barriers in terms of legislation for biometrics. So you need to take care about, so in France, this is CNIL, Commission Nationale Informatique et Liberté, and you have other legislations like RGPD. So you need to make sure that you are compatible with these legislations. But of course, this is a very, very strong mean of authentication. So make sure that you have templates of people in the cards or in your system, and so when they come and you check them, you can do a live recognition with these technologies. So these technologies really can be implemented in different areas where you can use biometric, so border control, law enforcement, or access to very high security locations. And the main technologies, again, fingerprint, facial recognition, and iris. You know that we basically all have fingerprints in our passports. But when you cross a border, this is the facial recognition that is used. So it's quite interesting technology. And in terms of what you can do with the biometric project, first, any biometric project starts with an enrollment, which means that at some point you need to take to record the fingerprints or the face or the iris of the people you will control in the future. And then there are several levels of verification. So the first level is verification, which means that you have one record and you have one live person, and you want to check if the live person corresponds to the record from a previous enrollment. A control means that you will control that, but against a document. So this is still 1 against 1. And finally, the identification, which is the most difficult part of biometrics, which means you have someone in front of you. You take either fingerprint or face or iris, and then you search against a whole database. And this is where you need really to have a perfect probe of the people in front of you to check against a database. Okay, and so that's basically the end of my presentation. And then I now give the floor to Stephen Wynn from Mosaic ID.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Wynn. I appreciate Coppernic and Rob and Mark for allowing the opportunity to speak with you all. Like you said, I'm with Mosaic ID. I'm our Director of Business Operations and Development here. And we have a video that I wanted to start everyone with to show how we use Coppernic on an everyday basis with all of our customers, and this will give you a strong visual of what we do with it. So let me go to that.
Beginning of the
All right. So that gives a really strong visual of how we use our devices on a day-to-day basis. So we are a security and technology company that is based in Virginia in the United States, and we have about 30 years in that industry of security and biometrics and technology. I'll go ahead and, yeah, there it is. Skip along to the next little slide with just our logo. But I wanted to start by just explaining why we chose this device and how, talk about the hardware, and then I'll get into our software application and explain our full solution of how we use it. But as Mark was saying, this device is, when it comes to start with the hardware and the rugged ability, that was one of the big key requirements for our customers. So our government, the Coast Guard, put out a contract where they were actually needing to purchase biometric readers that read credentials such as TWIC cards. In the video, you saw TWIC cards being used, which is what's in that image there, that the card is that the device is reading. A TWIC stands for a Transportation Worker Identification Credential. It's just a high issued US government credential that's background. Your background is vetted by the government, by TSA, in order to qualify to have one of those cards. And the majority of our customers are ports and the Coast Guard around the country. So ships coming in and out, cruise ships coming in and out, cargo ships coming in and out, and they all have to carry these credentials in order to get into those facilities. And they need TWIC readers to be able to verify and validate. And there was a law that was put into place where these credentials had to be electronically verified, and also a biometric had to be checked every 24 hours. And so that's where this device has really come into play with our customers. Again, the durability and ruggability of this device is incredible. We're very thankful for Coppernic for putting out such a strong and impressive reader. When it comes to weather, rain, snow, heat, if it's high temperatures in some of the states where the temperatures can cross over 100 degrees, or some of the states where it gets below freezing, these readers are fully deployable, ready to be used in all of those situations, and continue to impress a lot of our customers just because of how durable they are, whether they're getting dropped. The people that are using these are just your average security guards, and so things happen and they continue to perform and provide our customers with what they need. And they continue, like Mark was saying, that 3 to 5 year range of these products to last is key, and these do. Our customers have been using them for, we started providing these readers back in 2018, and I was just speaking with some of our customers who purchased them back in 2018, and they're still using them every day, running strong, and their battery life, 12 to 15 hours is the average battery life that we're able to see our customers get on a full charge with these readers. That was one of the big requirements for us to qualify for providing these readers to the Coast Guard, and is that the battery life had to be a minimum of 12 hours, and these we're seeing an average of 12 to 15. And so they really are incredible readers. And when it came to qualifying for that contract, the other competition honestly just really didn't stand a chance when it came to what Coppernic's reader was providing. And then we have our software on it, which I'll explain that and give you the full explanation of our solution and how we use this. But I'll skip to the next slide. So how our customers use these is there's 2 ways to read cards. Like the video showed, they can either insert the card as you see in the image there in the bottom, or you can place the card against the back and do a contactless read. And this is a huge need, and a big plus for our customers is when they can, if they have a long line of people that they need to get in the facility or get out of the facility, they're able to simply hold the card against the back and do a very fast read, and it still is checking all of the required information. And so the law that was put into place is that they had to electronically validate the card, make sure the card was not expired. They have to check the issuance of the card, meaning that who it was issued by, that it was actually issued by TSA, by the government. There is a canceled card list that the cards are checked against that Department of Homeland Security puts out. And so all of that's done by either holding the card against the back or putting the card inserted in the bottom, and it takes about 3 seconds for that to be completed. So it really is a remarkable processing time for reading the cards, and it's very accurate, and the way that the card is inserted and how it's held against it, and the reader on the back is the scanner on the back is superb when it comes to other readers out there. And then you have the biometric here, and so they have to, like I said, they're required to check a biometric every 24 hours. So once the card is read, we then go ahead and have them place their finger on the scanner. That little metal plate around the fingerprint scanner is key as well. We really like to point that out because it actually checks for liveliness in the finger, making sure that it's actually a live finger. And so that's a key thing there, key feature in how the reader works. And this is very fast as well. And so I wanted to get into, this is what we've designed with our software. So these are screenshots of what you would see if you were using our readers that we purchased from Coppernic, and we put our software on there. And so kind of going from the left to the right, you can see that it's like a main screen, and then you see a fingerprint screen. When a fingerprint is scanned, as the video showed, it makes the fingerprint icon turn green, or it will turn red if you need to retry it. These credentials come with a PIN number, and so the customer has the option of validating and checking their PIN if they would like to, or if they're required to at their facility. And so when they press that, the PIN pad opens up we have it upside down there because when our guards are holding the readers, they extend them out to the customer, and so the pin pad flips around automatically for the card holder to enter their pin easily, and it validates that. And then you actually, after all of that, you'll be able to see the person's photo on the reader itself. And these are just 3 slides here showing failed fingerprint, or maybe the card is expired. Everything that we've done is all red light, green light driven, and so it's designed to make it as simple as possible for the guards. We didn't want them really to have to think too much. We wanted them to be able to get the line of people processed through really quickly, and so they know that if they see red, something's wrong. If they're seeing all greens and yellows, and they know that they're good to go and move them forward. The key difference with our solution and how this reader plays a huge part in that is that our reader and our solution is standalone. So we've been able to provide our customers with these readers, and it does not require Wi-Fi or cellular connection to actually conduct this full operation. They're able to validate the credentials, they're able to check the expiration, everything that I mentioned before, as well as biometrics. And all of that is done without any Wi-Fi or cellular connection. And we're very proud to be actually the only TWIC mobile reader in the field that is truly standalone. Everyone else does require a constant cellular or Wi-Fi connection to be operated. And so when we're able to explain to our customers that in power outage situations, whether it's a hurricane or the power just has gone out for some reason, or maybe it's a facility where there's no cellular connection available. Maybe it's one of the lowest levels of the facility, or if they're out in the middle of the ocean, these readers are fully deployable and fully operational, able to check all of these things without any need of connection. The only time that we have our customers use a Wi-Fi connection is on a once a day. It takes about 3 seconds, and that is to download the canceled card list that I mentioned before directly from Department of Homeland Security. And once that's done, the reader turns the Wi-Fi off automatically, and it is fully then deployable again without any connection to the internet needed. And so we have found that also helps relieve our customers and their IT teams. Usually when we get on a call with a new customer, they want to know how involved their IT team is going to be. Do we need to get on their intranet? Do we need to be in their network? And because we've been able to develop this as a standalone solution, we don't require, or we don't need to actually be in their network and be connected to their intranet. All we need is that simple 3-second Wi-Fi connection once a day to get the canceled card list, and then the reader automatically turns the Wi-Fi back off. And so we've got customers who will use facility Wi-Fi for that. We've got customers who will use their mobile hotspots to do that. Again, it's only about 3 seconds. They need a Wi-Fi connection to get the canceled card list down, and that's it. Which helps prevent, we know that sometimes guards or people out there can try to go searching on the internet and pull things down. And so because this is a standalone solution, and the only way that Wi-Fi is used is downloading those lists, that there's no access actually to the internet and to your browsers and to Google and things like that, so they can't go searching for things. So that's a very key part in our solution. And what we wanted to provide our customers is that we wanted them to be able to be truly standalone. And so a prime example of how this solution has worked with some of our customers, we had a cruise ship that purchased some of these, and they brought us out, and we were showing them how the readers operated, and we were doing it in the field. We brought the readers, and they had their regular people coming in and out of the facility. And there was a gentleman that came up to have his TWIC card scanned, and when it was presented to us, we inserted the TWIC card into the bottom of the reader, as you saw in that photo and in the video, and you saw all the green come up. The card was not expired, everything was checked, took about 3 seconds to do, really quick. But then the gentleman put his fingerprint on the scanner, And when the biometric was checked, we got that red retry fingerprint icon that you see there in the image on the screen. And so he was a little concerned. He tried again, and again, the card was good, but his fingerprint was not matching up. And so we took everyone's cards that were standing around us in that moment, checked everyone's biometrics. Everyone worked out perfectly well. And then the gentleman was taken back to a different room to figure out what was going on. And what was discovered was that he was actually a twin brother of the actual card holder who had been gone out of town for a month, and was sending his twin brother in with his TWIC card, because on the credential has a photo and they look identical. And so the guards were simply looking at the card and moving him along through. And that was going on for about a month, where he would come in, clock his brother in, and then he would just leave. And so when our solution showed up, it resolved a lot of those issues, a lot of issues of people making fake cards, because again, it's checking the chip, it's checking the information. When a person gets one of these cards, they are background vetted by the government, by TSA, and so all of that information is in the chip of the card, and our readers check that flawlessly. And it takes, again, a matter of seconds to do that and get a line of people through. I believe that is the last slide I think that I provided. Yeah. So I wanted to again, we greatly appreciate this reader, this device. It continues to be the standout industry leading here in the States when it comes to TWIC readers. And we just appreciate everything that Coppernic continues to put out. So thank you again for this time to speak, and we appreciate you and everything you do.
Okay, thanks, Steve. We have a few minutes left, so we can get on with some of the questions that we have submitted from the audience. I assume Mark is still there as well.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let me look at some of the questions here. Okay, so first of all, can you see those? Or?
Ooh. I'm in the sun.
Let me read them out to you. So first question is, what are the
questions?
Solutions? Sorry?
I cannot see the questions, so
okay.
You can.
What are the biometric solutions you can manage with your tablets? I think we have addressed that, but I don't know, Mark, if you want to touch on that a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So the kind of biometry we can handle is first of all fingerprints. So we have several options for the fingerprints. So we have a single finger sensor, which is FAP 20. So FAP 20, 30, 50 is the size of the sensor. So FAP 20, 30 are single finger, and FAP 50 are four finger at the time. So we can handle fingerprint. We can also handle facial recognition thanks to the camera. So this is a 13 megapixel camera, and we can also propose software to check the quality of the picture. And finally, we can handle iris recognition. This is a dual iris sensor that we can use. So iris, fingerprint, and facial recognition.
Okay, one of the follow-on questions to that, I think, is if a customer is already using biometric with static readers, they also have to enroll in your system?
Basically, it depends on the system. So if there is a central database with templates that are not proprietary, there is no need to re-enroll, because we will be able, if the templates, so the records in the system are not proprietary, it's easy for us to generate templates, or to take these templates and compare to a live probe. so it's not required. But if this is proprietary format, we need to double check if we can generate this proprietary format, or if we can use this proprietary format with our device. So it all depends on how the previous templates were recorded.
Okay. The next question, it says, which return of experience with NFC? So I think they're asking about using NFC, which token, which card, and what about an iPhone NFC as a card? So I guess that is using a mobile phone as a credential and using NFC.
Yeah, so using NFC in terms of a reader, so using the integrated NFC reader in a device can allow you to do a number of things, but not everything. So it depends on the technology of the card. And then the other question is using a phone and the NFC module of a phone as a card. So this is also possible. It also depends on what kind of technology is used as a card emulation. And for the iPhone, this is a specific format, and this is a work in progress. Especially, we are working with RATP for that, to be able to read iPhones as transportation tickets. So this is possible, but it's not automatic. So we need to know what kind of card emulation is done, and then we can answer to know if we can support it or not.
Okay, thanks. I think we have time. What's that?
Yeah. No, I said that's a bit of an answer of an engineer. I'm sorry about that, but that's the truth.
Okay, you're an engineer. I think we have time for one last question, and anything else we can respond directly by email. It says, are you already integrated into physical access control systems? So we have some physical access control systems that have directly integrated our devices into them. If you think about the slide Mark showed with the 3 different ways of integrating them, we have some physical access control systems that have direct integrations, but we also have a number of partners and other solutions that can integrate into the existing access control system. So it very much depends on what system you're using, what technology you're using, but we will have one of those approaches that would work for that. So if anyone has any specific questions on that, I invite you to contact us at info@coppernic.fr, and we'd be happy to provide specific solutions for your specific system. I think that's it. We're at the end of our time, so we appreciate everyone who joined us today. Again, contact us if there's any other questions. And thanks to Stephen and Mark for your time today, and we hope you enjoyed this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.